There is one skill that will give you everything that you want in terms of your internet marketing career. It'll give you time freedom. It'll give you plenty of cash in the bank. It'll give you a lifestyle that most couldn't even wrap their heads around, and they can only imagine in their wildest dreams. This one thing is the ability to create advertising copy that attracts the highest quality prospects and gets more sales. And in this blog post, we have two rock star marketers and multi six figure earners, Whit and Carrie Hingham, who will show you how. And I'll give you my own examples as well, as someone who has also, from a part time perspective, been able to develop annual six figure income while working a full time job. That too is a skill that you'd probably be interested in, a different kind of story. But let's focus here on how to write killer ad copy, because that will enable you to sell more stuff, recruit more reps, and make a whole lot more, as they say here, moolah in your business. Sounds like a good plan, right? The first thing you have to do is learn how to market your business and start advertising on social media. That's the most effective means of connecting with your prospects without having to chase people down or deal with rejection after rejection after rejection. Uh, if you read this blog post by Whit and Carrie, and I encourage you to do that, you'll see their story, and I'm going to contrast that with Grace and my story. But you will know that being able to tell a story is absolutely critical, and tell it in a particular way. So in the article below, they've shared exactly what strategy they've used, and I'm going to be breaking that down and reviewing that here. And they also have a very specific formula that they use to write their ads. And this is a skill that you can hone and that you can continue to work on, just as Grace and I have done that. But this is an exciting story, and I encourage you to take it in, because less than a year ago, when they first got started, as they say here, they were dead broke. And I remember when they broke through the ranks. It was a quite exciting time. Good to hear their story. They were living in their family's basement with less than $9 in the bank and $30,000 in debt. Their idea of prospecting was to drive around and go prospecting people on the streets and go stand in malls and try to stop people. Today is their top affiliates in Elite Marketing Pro, a home where Grace and I have learned a lot of our marketing expertise, and now they exclusively build their business online from the comfort of their home. They've lived through the pains, and this is going to be something we're going to talk about. The pains of the people they're looking to help. That's a target market. And that's one of the tips they want to share. Get really good at telling your story to your target market. Grace and I, our target market is a little bit different than the one that these two have, but you need to know who your target market is. Our target market is more precisely busy professionals who are seeking to build an online business. And over the course of 2014 to 2018, both Grace and myself were working full time. We had some pains. We had some disasters in both of our personal economic pasts that had caused us to be in a situation that, although it looked like we were doing very well, we were not doing as well as it might have looked. And that's the case for a lot of people. But we found a way to earn a six figure income while still maintaining our busy professional lives. And doing that while addressing the pains, Grace's pain, being a widow with a child, and left with a substantial debt after her first husband passed away from a brain tumor. Me coming out of a very difficult divorce situation where I lost, obviously, in a complex divorce, you lose half of your financial resources that you built up over your lifetime. And not really being aware of that, and being off and alone, and then finding ourselves together and needing to take Grace out of debt and rebuild my finances. Yes, even with good, solid professional businesses, hers was in quite a difficult situation, and we jumped in together and did that, and that was the pain that we were working to build in our business. They had a different one here. So these two instead of just following the idea. You see advertising out there that says these gurus, oh, we make this much money, here's our yacht, here's our mansion, here's our luxury car. Sounds flashy, but where is the attraction for the average person? Most people are jaded and cynical, and they can't imagine those things for themselves. So if you're willing to be vulnerable, if you're willing to tell your story, whether it has a deep, heart-wrenching pain where you've lost everything, or whether you're a millennial, you're a college student, you don't have money for gas, your car's just sitting in your mom's driveway, or you don't have money to take your children for vacation, or you just realize that you don't have enough money to retire on, which turned out to be the situation that I found myself in. Everyone has their pains, and everyone's touched by and can relate to your pains. Through the power of internet marketing and attraction marketing, I've addressed my pain and Grace's pain, and these two have addressed their pain. This is why we'd like to share it with you. So once you're good at putting your story into an ad, you can sell anything you want. So let's go on to Whit and Carey's formula. They don't care what platform you're using. It could be the same strategy. It works on Facebook, it works on LinkedIn, it works on YouTube, it works on Instagram, any other social media platform, because how you use it is a tactic. But the formula itself is strategic, meaning that it applies anywhere and everywhere. So they also use the same formula in their Facebook Lives, and that's universal. So here's the first one, and it's what I started to mention before. It starts with pain. Maybe you've heard it before. If you try to advertise to everyone, you'll attract no one. So always remember, when you're advertising, you're not advertising to the masses. You're speaking to one person. I'm speaking to you and speaking to the pain that you have gone through and your realization that if someone speaks to your pain, they have your attention. And so this is important. And now, what is the pain that your ideal prospect is going through? Well, you have to think about that when you write an ad. You don't just use generic stuff. And as they share, anytime they sit down to write a copy for anything, they start by remembering what pain they went through and get that pain fresh in their mind and then write about it. And it's not nice to feel that pain in your hearts when you write about it or talk about it. It's unpleasant, but it's exactly that causes people to relate to you. And it can be hard for people who haven't been through that kind of experience. But the cool thing about writing is that you can watch other people go through a struggle. You can write that copy from an outsider's perspective based on their experience. And that's where, 95% of people struggle with advertising, because learning to write from the pain is a skill set that really takes time to build. I can honestly say over the first 2 years that I was trying to market, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to admit that pain that I had out there. And when I wasn't willing to admit it, I just wanted to make everything look as though everything was perfect. People weren't relating to that. So finally tapping into what was my why, what was my deeper why, what was my pain, and what I was doing to get out of it, and how I was finding success doing that, is what caused me finally in year 3, which was 2016, to finally explode into the marketplace. Following this formula is going to make that process a whole lot easier. You don't have to wait 3 years before you get it. You can get it right now. Remember, you might be thinking, well, everybody's telling the same story. Everybody's got, I don't have any time, or I don't have any money, or I need, I can't pay my bills, or I can't afford to take my children for a vacation, or I can't afford to send my children to college, or I can't afford to retire. I can't even afford to pay the bills at the end of the month. Give an example. People love to watch an underdog movie. That's why we keep seeing all these movies. Everybody has a pain. Every underdog movie is exactly the same story. It just has different characters and a different plot. But you go and watch them, and so do I. You might be telling the same story, but you are a different person, and it's a different plot. So don't worry about, you thinking that your story is exactly like everybody else. You might be writing about the same pain points, but the plot, the characters are going to be different, and it's your story. And also, it is very true that you should be positive, but you don't need to start in that place. You can identify a pain point, just hit 1, 2, maybe 3, maybe 4, And then you're going to move to step 2 of the formula, which is the solution. So you don't have to be Debbie Downer. The solution or the benefit to what you found to get out of that pain is what you're feeling. So let's say you're in a health and wellness network marketing company and you have a weight loss shake. That's what their example is. Or we're in a health and wellness and maybe we're doing a hemp oil, for example. Whatever it might be, and you're offering that product. And there's a big difference between a picture of you drinking your shake or taking your product and saying, well, I've lost 5 pounds or I feel so much better in a week. Message me and ask me how I did it. You see that being trained all over the place, and that might work a little bit. But talking about whatever pain it was that made you want to lose that weight, or the problem that you had being, not very present and not very smart, or overweight, or whatever it was, would be quite a bit different. So what was the pain that you felt before you lost those 5 or 10 pounds? Were you unhealthy? Did your heart hurt? Were you embarrassed to look in the mirror? Did you find that you couldn't put your pants on? That your dress didn't fit? That your shoes didn't fit? That your face always looked fat? That you were disgusted looking at yourself in the mirror? Maybe you weren't disgusted, but you were just annoyed. Or you were tired all the time. Maybe you're a mom who hadn't lost that baby fat after 3 years and you were afraid to wear a bikini in public. There's one guy, they share his story. He mastered his pain story. He writes about his weight loss journey. He actually shares how he was so uncomfortable with the way he looked that he'd turn out the lights at night when he was intimate with his wife. Now, that's pain, and that's painful to share. But when you read it, your heart goes, whoa, that's someone who really didn't like where he was, and something happened. So you can get into the heart of the people who's reading your ad, and this is about writing ad copy, by the way. They're going to be willing to listen to whatever it is that you have to say. And you can use the same thing orally in videos or in lives or whatever, but pain is the first. The answer, the solution, is there. It's not just to immediately say, ask me how I did it using this awesome, delicious shake, or ask me why I feel so great now that I'm taking this hemp oil, or whatever it might be. Your solution is to provide education, how you change your lifestyle, why the endocannabinoid system, newly discovered, is so essential, and why you need something to help you build that up. How you changed your mindset, how you changed your diet, help them to get clear on what their wants and desires were from where they were. And once you've established the pain point, you've got their attention, now you need to say, what do you want and how can you move on from that pain point? Where do you want to go from here? And that's where the solution comes in. So you don't just say, hey, here's my shake, here's the solution, here's this cool CBD spray that instantly transforms my brain and my system back into the condition that God made it. And whatever your point might be, you have to educate them a little bit. So you teach them the what? The benefit. So what's the benefit for them if they take action? You can't just, even if you got their attention with pain and you show them the solution, they still have to say, how's it going to help them? So I was tired before. I was run down. I was overweight. And this changed my lifestyle. I'm not as fatigued anymore. It's not drink your shake. It's not spray this hemp oil into your mouth. The benefit is, how are they going to move from where they're at to where they want to be? So if you're that mom who was afraid to put on the bikini and now you've lost weight, you can talk about, woohoo, I just bought my first bikini since the birth of my baby, and I'm going on a cruise in February, or I'm headed to the beach in July. And the guy that was afraid of turning off, who was talking about turning off the lights because he was ashamed to show himself, even in front of his spouse. Well, guess what? I'm not afraid anymore. The lights are on, the clothes are coming off, and I'm feeling good about myself. So that's pretty powerful, right? So you're digging into that pain, you're educating them on what the solution is that you found, and then you're giving them a benefit. Now, the last thing, people always forget this one. Call to action. It's the single most important part of the ad. All the other things are what grabs your attention. brings people into a connection with you. You can do everything right in the first 3 steps, but you got to put the icing on the cake with the right call to action. If not, your ad will not work, and it's why your ads do not work. So don't drop the ball. If you don't give them a direct call to action in everything that you do and write, you're not helping them move forward and change their lives. And you want to give them the option to connect with you, right? Do it right now and tell them exactly how to do it. So that's the 4-step formula for writing a winning ad. But you're not finished yet. Here's a few questions to ask before you post it. Is it interesting? Is it engaging? This question is crucial for the success of your ad. So does it keep the reader interested, or is it kind of boring? Guess what? Boring doesn't sell. But it also has to be relatable. So you got to say, does it focus on the benefit to that reader? Have you grabbed their attention from the pain that you've shared so that they identify? And can they see something in the solution that you're offering for them? Are you speaking to that one person and telling them a story that they can relate to? Is it clear? Clarity is huge. So you need to ask, is it easy to understand? Can someone know what I want them to do when they're finished reading my post? And that call to action is the most important part of your ad. So be sure you stay clear, on point, and moving forward throughout your message. Is it concise? So there's a lot of long story ads, and you can end up being repetitive. So go through and every line, take it out if it doesn't need to really be there. Is it important to your story? Does it make the reader want to read the next line? What is the point of that story? And the point of every line is to get them to read the next one. And is it persuasive? Would you click on this? It's a great question. After you read and prepare something, ask yourself, would you click on it? Would you want to know more? A lot of people will say no, but that question gets the wheels turning. So you need to be more persuasive. So don't just, if you've been getting taught to do these cookie cutter ads, really generic things, nothing personal about yourself, you're going to have little or limited success. That's what the training is. Training is just training. It's a guideline. You have to fill in the gaps. Whether it's a training about writing a post or running an ad, it's all about making things unique. And we understood that right away. That's what helped them to build a lot of momentum. It's what changed the marketing lives of Grace and myself in 2016 to where we've been considered leaders in the industry since that point. So, and it's because we started to be honest about our stories. So I can guarantee that your story will relate to people in ways that maybe their story or our story won't. But that's the beauty of being human. By following this 4-step formula, understand the essentials, you'll rock it when you write your own ad copy. So don't just think about it. Now, practice. Do it right now. Try after you've listened to this. I recommend strongly reading the blog and then writing some ad copy. Practice writing your own story. Write a killer post or killer ad. Virtually guaranteed. If you start doing that and practicing, you'll be good. If you're a network marketer and you'd like to learn more about building your business online instead of pitching your friends and family or doing nothing or stalking strangers in the mall like these guys used to do, we strongly recommend that you sign up for Elite Marketing Pro's free 10-day online recruiting bootcamp. It's the exact same information, and that was one of the secrets that we finally identified. It was in 2016 that we became members of Elite Marketing Pro. You'll understand the process that the CMO, Fernie Ceballos, uses to passively prospect, and he'll teach you how to do that. You can click, if you read on the blog post, click here to access that 10-day online recruiting bootcamp, or you can go back up to the top of the blog and you'll find a link here, right here on the side, the Attraction Marketing Formula Bootcamp. Click on that. So 2 things. Here is a call to action. The call to action. 1, read this blog, identify, figure out how it applies to you, and practice. And 2, if you want additional help, click on and get your free Attraction Marketing Formula Bootcamp, and that will be a significant benefit for you. So thank you for watching. Take action, learn, apply, and you will be glad that you did. Thank you so much. Now, take the action. Bye-bye.